Hey Bookaholics, so welcome back to another video. Today I am bringing you a list of light academia on my TBR. The popularity of dark academia is not questioned by anyone at this point. But another thing that seems to be increasing in popularity, however, is light academia. A prime example of this, and a personal favourite of mine, The Natural History of Dragons and the entirety of the Memoirs of Lady Trent series by Marie Brennan. Along this vein, I have a few other series where we are going to be discussing people, well, studying something fantastical. The first one I'm going to talk about is The Empire of Shadows by Jacqueline Benson. This is a Victorian setting in which we are going to be investigating a pre-Columbian city. It is an epic fantasy. It apparently has vibes of Indiana Jones. And we have a young woman named Elle Mallory who has just lost her job because she is an educated woman and ambitious in archaeology. And therefore, when she discovers a map to an ancient city, she could revolutionize pre-Columbian history. So she goes to investigate and she ends up with a crew of people, but she does need the help of maverick surveyor Adam Bates. I do believe that this is a romance story as well, and I am really excited to give it a go. I believe it is a series, so I will be waiting until the series concludes before picking it up, but I am excited to try it once it does. The next one that I have is The Scholar and the Last Fairy Door, and in this we are in the 1920s and following World War I, where we did also have fairies helping us and the enemy in battle. All of the fairy doors were sealed. However, we do have our protagonist, who is a scholar who has wrestled arm and leg to get into this secret academy so that she might be able to find a cure for her brother who was cursed by the fairies. She now is seeking out the last fairy door and the possibility that someone might be able to reverse her brother's curse before it is too late. I'm really excited for this one. I don't really read an awful lot of World War I or World War II fantasy, but this one sounds really exciting, and I love the fact that we have the fae and the fairies but in this malicious and almost evil sense, and we have someone wanting to save their brother, and then we have the academia side of it as well, which I'm very excited for. Continuing on in the vein of fairies, we do of course have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. The first two books in this trilogy are now out, and they are written by Heather Fawcett. In this series we are following Emily Wilde, who wants to put together the most definitive guide to fairies. So she goes to travel to, I believe it's somewhere in Scandinavia, and she is then put up against her academic rival, who seems to be much more charismatic but a lot less thorough than she is, and it's how eventually they need to work together so that they can put together this project. It does seem to be a bit more romantic in nature, and I am really excited to be giving it a go. Another one that seems to be a hybrid between light academia and also murder mystery is the What the River Knows series by Isabel Ibanez. This is one that I believe we are following a young woman whose parents are researchers that are working in Egypt when they mysteriously go missing. So then we have this young woman needing to travel from her home in South America to Egypt so that she can investigate not only what her parents were investigating and researching, but also what actually happened to them. So I believe that we do have this combination of her needing to delve into her parents' research, but we do also have her needing to delve into what has possibly happened to them. So it is the murder mystery element to it on top of the academic side. But I do believe that the nature of it is still very light in the research side, so I would still count it possibly as light academia. One that I am unsure if it is entirely light academia, A Letter to the Luminous Deep by Sylvie Cathrall, and this is one that is told in an epistolary style, i.e. through letters, and in it we are following a couple, I think, who have gone to, I think, investigate merfolk. So they are researching under the sea, and they are sending each other letters, and then I believe that they go missing, and then it is possibly their siblings who then go to search for them. This is one that I am really excited to get into because I really like the idea of investigating merfolk, and I like the way that we've been playing with merfolk a lot in recent literature, so I am hoping that I'll have a really good time with this one. It is the first book in a series and there is only one out at the moment, so it will be a while until I can can get to them, but I am excited nonetheless. The next one that I am really excited to try is The Phoenix Keeper by S.A. McLean, and this is one that I'm really excited to try out because we are in a zoo of magical creatures, and it's the kind of zoo that keeps the animals there for preservation purposes because they are going extinct. And we are following someone who is in charge. She's the zookeeper. She's the keeper of the phoenix, and I believe that they are potentially going to close her exhibit, so she is then petitioning for people to not allow this to happen so that she can protect the phoenixes that are in her charge. So it is a little bit different in terms of the academia side, but I do believe that she is someone who is very thoroughly versed in the phoenix, and it still has a similar vibe in the sense of us learning about the phoenix and about these magical creatures. So I still think that it would count as a light academia, despite the fact that it's not really in an academic setting. If we count museums for dark academia, I feel like counting zoos would still count for this one because you are still being informed about these phoenix. So I think that it would still count, although this one's a little bit more of a stretch. And then the very last one that I have is one that is the conclusion to a series that I have been absolutely loving, and that is the Miss Percy's Pocket Guide series by Quenby Olson. I have read books 1 and 2, but book 3 is releasing this year, so I am really excited to get to it and see how this series concludes. In this story, we are following Miss Percy, who inherits a dragon from her uncle. So then when the dragon egg ends up hatching, she ends up needing to find out how to care for this dragon and see if it's the only dragon. So her and the local priest who offers his assistance then has to go traversing around England to try and find out what to do with this dragon. While she is doing so, it is told where she is telling this story through her own experiences in almost a memoir / diary style, where we can then see exactly what unfolds and what other things she discovers about dragons along the way. This is another one that is a little bit more Regency core than it is necessarily a light academia, but since we are being told it in this informative way where we do have Miss Percy occasionally informing us about things that she is discovering about these dragons, I feel like if you like the light academia vibes, even though this doesn't quite hit in the academic sphere quite as hard, I still think that it would be of interest to you. But that is it. Those are some light academias that are on my radar that I am really excited to get to. Let me know if you know any more that are like this, because there really doesn't seem to be enough yet and I'm hankering for more, so let me know if there are any that I have missed. But that is all for me for today, so thank you ever so much for watching, and I will hopefully catch you in another one soon. Bye!